the beginning of the third urban superintendent cohort for us at AASA. This was just little more than wishful thinking about 2.5 years ago when we first got together with our partners at Howard University and the University of Southern California to talk about what we saw was a very, very significant need in terms of education in America. All of us in this room are so very much aware of what we here call the achievement gap, which is really, as we understand it, a better term would be an opportunity gap. The children that are on the wrong side of that opportunity gap tend to be the children that today make up the majority of students in America, and that is students of color. And it is those students that just happen to also fall in the area of being the poorest, economically deprived students in America. There are a number of factors that we see today in terms of statistics that are alarming, such as the percentage of segregated schools in America has increased, almost doubled in the last 10 years. That America still continues to lead the percentage of students in poverty in industrialized countries in the world. And yet, in spite of these statistics, today, at this very moment, we are faced with what is undoubtedly the greatest threat that public education has faced in America. At a time when our students are in need of more, at a time when our students are in need of better, what we hear promised by our leaders here in Washington is less. What we hear promised by our leaders here in Washington is to privatize public education, to steal from the poor, to give to the rich, to take away from our public schools so that we can fund private schools. This, to me and to all of us in this room, I'm sure, is incredibly, incredibly scary. That our country, at a time when we need to do so much more for our students at risk, when we need to create the opportunities that will allow them to achieve and become the kind of citizens we want in this country, that we would dare to talk about cutting education funding by 13%, that we would dare to do away with health services to the students that need it the most, that we would dare to allow the rich to invest in tax credits that will go to provide dollars for students to attend private and religious schools. That is unconscionable. So when we thought about this program with our partners at Howard and USC a little over 2 years ago, we were thinking then not of what's happening now, but of what was happening then and has been happening historically in our country. The need for leaders like you to step up and become the champions for our children, to become the advocates for our children, to become the leaders in your community that would stand up and speak for the students that are lacking and not getting the opportunities that they deserve. Little did we know then that it would be such an important opportunity today as it is. This program, by any way that you want to measure, has been incredibly successful. In just 2 years, 25 of our graduates are superintendents today. How many of you in this room, I know that there are at least several of you in this room that are today are superintendents that are graduate of this program. Would you please stand? So there are 3 graduates right here and many, many more out there. And so we have with us today just an incredible program for you. Of course, Dawn Williams, who is our partner at Howard University and is the dean over there, is going to follow me and address you. Rosa Atkins. Rosa, are you here? Where are you? Here. There she is. Rosa Atkins is here. We talk about what's happening today. I'm sure Rosa will share with you, if you haven't already read the pieces in Ed Week and other media outlets that talk about the great work that Rosa has done in Charlottesville. In Charlottesville, which is representative of what's happening in our country. And how Rosa had planned these festivities, the celebration for the beginning and the opening of the school year of joy and song and music and happiness. And instead, they become the epicenter for this incredible incident. And Rosa, I'm sure you will share with this group what you've had to do for your children, for your students, for your staff, for them to be able to cope with and deal and be ready for yet another school year. And what Rosa is doing is accentuated by the fact that what we saw on television happened in her community. But you can also talk about what's happening in your communities, because it's happening all over the country. So I'm hearing from superintendents everywhere. I just came back from California, and one of the superintendents was telling me how this past year, his community happens to be predominantly a Mexican-American community, how their team was playing another school district in another community that was predominantly white, and at halftime their football team was winning, and on the other side the chant rose, "Build the wall, build the wall." And this is just one example. We hear these things happening all over the country, in cafeterias, in schoolyards, in hallways. This sense that it's okay now to be a bigot, that it's okay now to point the finger at others and say, "You're less than, we're more than you, and we don't want you here." This is America. And we will not stand for that. And so you are our champions. How many of you are here that are members of the cohort? Would you please stand up? Welcome. So you are our future. You are our champions. You're the ones that we're training to send into battle. Congratulations and welcome. But please know that in the time that you're going to be with us, we will give you the support. We will give you the opportunities. We will have just exceptional individuals that are part of our staff. Mentors that are sitting superintendents, retired superintendents, the best of the best will be working with you to provide you with the kind of skill, the kind of support that you will need to go out there and do the job. And as I mentioned to you earlier, we do have a record, and we can almost guarantee that at least, excuse me, half of you, if not more, will be superintendents, many of you before you even finish the program, as has been the case in the past. So we're happy to have you. We welcome you. It's a great challenge, but more than ever, we need you. And thank you all for being here today.